welcome everybody to this webinar, which is, of course, being held in honor of this new year. I don't know what you guys do at the beginning of the year or New Year's Eve, may be the case for you. But I always pull out my tarot cards and my Viking runes and sit and meditate for a while and just think about how I want the new year to unfold. Sometimes I have things come up in meditation and silent meditation that weren't what I expected at all. Sometimes I have things come up in the runes that tell me what I need to work on this year. It turns out it's going to be things that are hidden from me, that are in my blind spots. So of course I'm looking around to see what those are and looking around inside as well. But I really love that ritual. I used to belong to a Unity church, and they always held a service where you would write down things you wanted to get rid of and then go and burn that piece of paper. So I thought we'd just start by my asking you, and hopefully you'll respond. Do you have any practices or rituals like that or how you like to welcome in the new year and get out with the old and in with the new, which of course is the topic of this program? Anybody? Sylvia.
Yes, well, when you said tarot, that's exactly what I do. I'm not as traditional as doing it always on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, although I think this time I did. So I do a 10-card spread for myself to give me a snapshot of what's coming up in various aspects of life, what the energies are, and to alert me to anything that I would like to change, any old patterns. Sometimes, apropos of your topic today, sometimes when an alarming or challenging card comes up, I'll draw another card with the intention of knowing what transmutes that. So that kind of tells me about the resource that I have to meet that challenge in the most benevolent way possible. And I also do a galactic heritage. I have a galactic heritage deck, so I draw only one of those cards, and that's always very illuminating, especially about the overall evolution of human consciousness on the earth.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's a great deck. I just got it a couple years ago.
What's the cosmos doing? That sort of idea.
Yeah, it's galactic. Galactic heritage talks about various ET races and connections there too. And what came up for me was mirror reflection. So it's a group that representing a group that they've been connected with the earth, but they've gone through their own evolution and their own ascension process. But the mirror reflection is to show, the whole spectrum of, how close they came to destroying themselves and pull themselves out of it.
Yes, yes. Which actually brings up the topic of, for me, astrology, because I did actually happen upon a woman whose name I can't recall right now, but had a very credible and interesting and beautifully presented website. And she talked about the astrology for 2022 and that there's Sylvia, you probably know it better than I do. See if I can remember. Pisces, yeah, Jupiter and Pisces, and I think maybe Saturn too, I'm not sure. But the whole general idea was that the predictions that she made for 2022 are expansion and getting in touch with our deeper selves, so that when we expand outward, it's in a good direction because of the powerful energies at play. Yeah. I kind of feel like all I can take care of myself, and I'm lucky to do that well. So I'm not paying too much attention to the outer um, astrological and galactic forces, but I think it's really interesting, especially when you run into mirror situations and can get layers of information that can be useful. Yeah, thank you for that. Anybody else want to contribute to this? Yeah, Steve.
I wanted to mention an interesting experience I had on New Year's Eve, which this is the first time it happened, but I'm hoping it will be a ritual. It was so beneficial. I found out about it's a club of entrepreneurs through my alumni association, one of the colleges I went to. And New Year's Eve, I thought that was kind of a strange time to have a meeting of entrepreneurs, but bunch of guys checked in online. We had a Zoom meeting like this, and we all talked about what we were planning to do in business during the next year, and it was extremely helpful. And I like made it a 90-degree turn in my plans, what I was going to do. So I'm hoping that I hope the leader of that group has that every year. That's really nice.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So somebody's paying attention to, and if we think about it energetically, a lot of people's attention is registering on the magnetometers spread throughout the world by the various hopeful peace groups. A lot of it's registering as how much booze can I drink before midnight?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It really wasn't.
Right. Others of us are picking up the general idea that a focus of mass consciousness, if it can change a random number generator, just think what we could accomplish if our minds are all focused on something coherent and peaceful and intentional at the same time toward humanity's higher good.
Right. And that's kind of how my thinking changed after that meeting, is that I got to stop thinking of myself as a engineer. I got to start thinking of myself as someone who participates in that global consciousness, even if it's in a tiny measure. It's still better if I sit down and I use my time to write down words that other people can read, rather than lines of computer programming, which can always be done by somebody else later.
Nice. Did you come up with any specificity?
Yeah. It took me a couple of weeks because I had kind of a rocky holidays, and I had to adjust my thinking and also, catch up with this and that was left over from the holiday season. But yeah, I feel like I'm on a really good track now.
Fantastic. What's that expression? If you don't know which way you're going, the universe will take care of that, or something like that.
Exactly.
Better chart the course. I always loved Edgar Cayce's readings about intention. He wasn't calling it intention way back in the late 1800s, the first almost half of the 1900s. He was calling it ideals, but suggested that people sit down and meditate on an ideal for the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of awareness, and get real clear about that. He also wasn't talking, as we are now, about the mind's power to change reality on a quantum level. He didn't use the word quantum, but he did say that when you turn your intentions or your ideals into an I am statement and repeat that it will then build that intention into every atom and cell of the body, which is exactly what quantum thinkers have come to in these later years. And I think that's really important too. I used to actually for a while put post-it notes on mirrors and things like that, and repeat things. And I do believe it made a difference. Things popped up in my life that I don't know would have otherwise, little odd things, with a high degree of specificity.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's kind of the idea for this program, is that we clear first, and then take in good energy and see what we see on the other side in that presumably realm of, I don't want to say white light to predispose anybody to perceive it that way, but that's the general idea, to open up and see, but out with the old first. That I think is really important. There's been a lot of talk, and I don't really come down one way on one side or the other. I think it's probably that it's not a both, it's a both and rather than an either or. But the question has been, in terms of manifestation, whether you have to do inner healing work at all. Because if you just connect with a higher level of consciousness, that it will do that work for you. And I tend to think that it's a little bit of both, to be grounded in reality, to do conscious healing. And in fact, that would agree with awakened mind work, you know, where our idea is to make conscious what we were not conscious of before, so that everything is conscious. And then if you can tie into the superconscious at the same time, then perfect, you're a superconscious being, grounded in physical reality, not caught up in what many people fall prey to, which is spiritual ego, but rather a manifestation of your own super ego, which would, I think we would agree, be the ideal situation. Yeah. Anybody else about practices that you do? Shelley, anything for you? Garth, Daljit, Nicole?
So I
have
oh, there's somebody coming in. I end up doing like a life review in present life and contemplating where that's gonna lead me over the next 6 months or 9 months. I do that every year, and then I write some of that down and make it into a little bit of a plan.
Excellent, excellent. So your life review, if I can explore that with you a little bit, it feels like that might be a little rich nut to crack open.
There's two parts to it. Some of it's got to do with memories that I would call past life things related to people and events, and then the other had to do with this life, from what I can remember back at an early age to the present, and try and project that a little bit further about what the next year needs to, what my attention needs to be focused on for the next year.
Yeah, cool. So the past life stuff, is it things that past lives you're aware of already that you lived, or are you searching for past lives you might not have known about before?
I'm always searching for past lives that I don't know about, but it's the ones that I remember and how that translates into the present.
Yeah. Sylvia and I have done some past life regression work together, and we studied for under the same for the same hypnotherapy certification or hypnosis certification, and find that to be absolutely stunningly beneficial.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about mirrors, mirror network, and things you can, I don't know if still to this day, if the subconscious mind is in its incredible brilliance. I think it was Joe Dispenza, Shelley, that said that the subconscious mind operates literally 1 million times faster than the conscious mind. I don't know how anyone could possibly know that, but if that is true, and it certainly seems to be true in dreams, in the incredible dream scenarios we have, if that's true, then in past life regressions, it's entirely possible for the subconscious mind to make up a past life, and that we perceive as a past life that's really a backwards in time projection into all of the different dynamics that are existing here in the present life. because that's what I found. I know Sylvia did too, is that, wow, if you're looking back, and then strangely enough, you're able to, if you need to, reframe, and that carries forth into the present life, and suddenly your issue is cleared up, or you at least see how it cleared up. Or maybe it was a real past life. I don't know. I tend to believe in parallel lives and things like that, but it's absolutely fascinating and a great way to get out with the old. Sylvia, you have a comment on that?
I would say yes, just identifying something from the past, whether you label it as past life or a super projection of your subconscious or something like that. It doesn't really matter, but I found that in my experience is conducting them and also doing Akashic Records readings, that there's a great deal of transformative power in knowing that what we identify as being in the past, that it's in our consciousness field.
Yes.
And I often work with the Akashic Records and sometimes with past lives in terms of restoring sovereignty. That is, like a little coronation ceremony. The birthright of every human being, free will human being, to be the ruler of our own consciousness.
Fascinating, beautifully
our own
put.
connection to our divine selves. So, when you're able to recognize that this is, your kingdom or queendom is your consciousness, then I find that very empowering and makes me realize, well, I have the power to change. So how about I use it? And then use it in a real way. It's not just, not just being in the mind and saying, oh, I would have done that life differently. Let me move this around, and I wouldn't have done that. And although that is helpful to know that you have options. But to look at it from the emotional point of view, the spiritual, the mental patterns, and just look at dissolving anything that's holding you back.
Accentuate positive, whatever it was, the negative, toss it out.
Negative. Yeah. And there's also generational stuff that I end up working on with clients as well. Traumas do make their imprint on and get passed down through generations, just as belief systems do as well.
Epigenetics.
Yeah.
It's starting to sound like a black hole if you go in there and start to clean up on those different levels. But the beauty of it is that it's like a constellation. You clean up one star and all the surrounding stars clean up at the same time.
Yeah. And I find that too, that yes, there are levels, but if you work with someone that is willing to work with, with an open mind and an open heart, is willing to work with the transmuting, the alchemy, then it's often the first thing that tackling the main thing just has a ripple effect, and it makes a lot of other aspects or challenges or old patterns or things just dissolve.
Yeah, beautiful, beautifully put. Thank you.
So
Shelley, how about you? Oh, go ahead, Garth.
I got into some of this thinking with Jane Roberts and the education of Oversoul 7 about parallel lives or parallel stacked dimensions, and that goes way back when I read that, but that played into some of my thinking about how all this works.
Yeah, yeah. That's some deep stuff. Fascinating, fascinating things.
It is.
So Shelley, you were going to say something a minute ago.
I've been recently doing some breath work that is set up specifically. Each meditation is called a meditation breath work, and it's set up specifically to release certain things, like from anger to love, or releasing sadness, or becoming unstuck. And I've found it to be the first time I did it, I really had no expectation at all. As a matter of fact, I wasn't really interested in doing it. And but I really quickly became really fascinated with the effects. And I found that was really, really, this woman has a way of just kind of introducing a question at a specific time through the breath work, which is usually 20 to 35 minutes long. And the effects afterwards, about 15 minutes later, you can have a whole experience after it's happened. It's pretty amazing. So that really helps me a lot. But the meditations I do also are focused on what I want next. So it's always constantly kind of reviewing all year long. Is this what I want? Am I being the way I want to be? And what do I want to be as my future self? But I've been doing a bit more journaling, but not probably as much as I would like to. I think it'd be more helpful to journal as well.
Yeah, good point. It is an ongoing job. It is.
So I have a couple comments too. I missed the first part in your initial comments. I just came in the middle of, but as I'd mentioned in earlier workshops that I have a state licensed school in Michigan, and I've been teaching clinical hypnotherapy for about 25 years now. And I worked with thousands, maybe 10,000, I don't know, a lot of people. And one of the fundamental ways I do is to set up what's called idiodynamic signaling, bypasses the cerebral cortex, the thinking conscious part, and enables a connection with the higher mind. And so when a client comes in with some kind of issue, after getting the parameters of it, then as they get into that relaxed state, which is with all the misnomers of hypnosis and misconceptions, I simply ask the inner mind to please go to the event or experience that'll shed light and understanding on this issue. And when you're there, please let me know by raising the yes finger, which we've already set up a connection there. And many times the event comes out with unresolved childhood events, sometimes at point of womb, of birth, other times in the womb. But a huge number of times it comes up that it is a past life. And that past life that comes up almost invariably relates to some issue in a person's life that they tie in directly. And when we work through the emotional charge, and as equally important, the beliefs that were formed subconsciously in the inner consciousness, and do soul retrieval as necessary, as a shaman would do, then miraculous changes happen. Physiological, all kind of illnesses disappear, even in metastasized cancer and shoulder pains that the medical profession, that was a nurse, medical profession hadn't been able to find a reason for it. Gone. It was a gunshot in a previous life when the person was, it was probably France or Spain with the plague. And they got out looking for water because they were burning up with temperature. And soldiers saw them out, shot them in the shoulder. The pain went away, never came back. So that's what I mean. The lives that come up directly relate to the issues that the persons are having. Could it be a metaphor? Well, that's a possible explanation, but Occam's razor, the one that fits the best and simplest. So I really don't have any doubt about past lives, or whether you want to call them parallel lifetimes. I'm familiar with the Roberts material as well. It's very good stuff. So anyway, whatever that's worth.
I think it's worth a world. I mean, and you obviously bring up the cases where people, and the Monroe Institute runs across this a lot too, where people said, I was on a sinking ship and it was March 17, 1895, and my name was thus and such, and whether that's a near-death experience or a past life experience, it turns out that someone tracks that down and finds out that that person really existed and that really did happen. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So the idea of parallel lives, anyway, I just find it directly correlates with a person's experience. And sometimes they do come up with exact identities and dates. And there's many cases of that where they have, like you related. It's even been on Fox News cases where they reported how these past lives came up with a Christian family that they didn't believe in past lives, and first were just dumbfounded at the idea. But as they traced it back and found that their son had been shot down over the seas of Japan, I believe it was, in that area, and identified not only his dog tags, but other members of the other crews flying with him. This incredible detail. And sure enough, he existed, and contacting a member of the family, and she sent some things from who he had been to the now a young man. So again, the evidence is overwhelming as far as I'm concerned, that there is no doubt in my mind that past lives, whether you call them parallel or not, that our soul on its journey back to wholeness has encountered in many, many different kinds of situations, and they're all designed for us to become the perfected beings that we really are right now, but haven't realized it yet. So anyway.
Yes, and of course the commonality in all of these discussions is the incredible power of consciousness to travel through time and space.
Exactly.
And encounter itself face to face, if you will, and make changes. And of course, we hope that we get to the point where in the conscious mind, we're able to do that, to see a pattern and say, oh, I don't want that. But the fact is, we do have a reptilian mind down there in the unconscious that does tend to react and that can store old issues. And the beauty of hypnosis and meditation is that when you lose the overpowering influence of the conscious mind and move into those lower and slower frequencies, then you're able with some detachment to regard an issue that can crop up. And like you, Robert, I'm utterly astonished. And first, in the work that we do with the awakened mind, and then also in hypnosis, to discover that if you just say, find the sensitizing issue, consciousness goes, oh, well, there it is.
Sure. It's amazing.
It's there. It's right there. It has been there all along. And it really just needs a suggestion. And that one little bit of suggestion, it's so willing and ready to heal itself, wants to be healed, wants to be transformed and reintegrated into the wholeness of our being. Yeah. So today's program is really about doing that just through this pure consciousness meditation. But before we go into it, I see that Luca Biotti has joined us from Italy. Hello, Luca.
Hi, Judith. Greetings, everyone. Sorry if I'm late.
Not at all. So happy to see you. You have been very busy camper lately, haven't you, with this wonderful, exciting experience where the mind mirror was featured in an Italian television documentary, and Luca was there as the translator. Arne Heisel traveled from Germany to Italy to be there for it, and they were speaking of the mind being infinite, doing some remote viewing and out-of-body travel, and the people who were measured and tested for being able to identify a target that was hidden performed brilliantly. And so cool. The mind mirror is going to be shown there, and I really appreciate your part and participation in that, and certainly your translation. I hear that Arne gave an impromptu talk for a few people, and that you translated for him, and somebody happily had their cell phone recording. So we'll at some point be able to see that in the future.
Sure, we have the video already. We can share with you. So if Arne, I think he will volunteer to share with you before, so we can arrange to publish. And the audience of this TV show is huge in Italy. It's reaching 1 million per show. So it's a good possibility to let us know about the Awakening Mind Institute and the Monroe Institute as well, because I'm part of the Monroe Institute. Yes.
Well, we will certainly prepare for the mind wave coming our way. That's fantastic. So the question that we're asking everybody, and perhaps you will want to participate in this, is did you or do you ever enjoy the pleasure of having the time, considering your busy schedule of late, to meditate on what you maybe did in the past year and then what you want the new year to be like? Do you have any kind of practice like that?
Yes, I'm a very, let's say, rational kind of person. I'm an engineer. So for me, it's quite common to make a summary of the year that is going to be closed, and put some objectives, some targets for the new year, of course. But it's something that is coming not from the rational mind, but it's coming from the heart most of the time, because my goal now are solely in the area of consciousness, grow, making training, this kind of stuff. I'm in the process of closing my, let's say, engineering job or reducing it to make more space for TMI and for training. Today I was training, and that's the reason why I'm late now, because for me it's 9:30 in the evening in Italy. So we finish about 7:30, then I have to arrange for dinner and so on. So I'm quite in a hurry, as you're saying. But yes, I have a practice to set goals and to review periodically, and also to pattern in an altered state of consciousness to reach that goals. Because if the goal you reach on another plane of consciousness, then it becomes reality in the day-to-day life. So my job is mainly on other plane of consciousness, targeting for goals, patterning, and waiting for them to become real.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really like your use of the word reducing. So I tend to think of it as uprooting or house cleaning, but of course that's what we're doing when we're transforming something, is we're reducing the static, the incoherence, the burden from the past, and making room for something new and precious that we determine is important to us to come in. So wonderful, wonderful. I wonder if Nicole and Daljit want to add anything before we start our meditation. We'd love to hear from you if you want to unmute and say something.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm sort of in a situation where I can't really talk, so I'm listening to you guys and sharing, like swallowing and enjoying the conversation that's going. I'm basically tired of the health system here because I'm having a lot of health issues, and I'm just seeking to find healing within my own power, because there's nothing that's happening with the health system here in my health. So I'm trying to find the power within. to heal. So that's why I'm here and interested in what you're doing and saying.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mhm.
Well, we'll hope this meditation will have some wonderful effects. Of course, because we're all gathered here as a group, there is some energy coupling. There
Sure.
may well be some field coupling, and what we would be doing alone as a group will be amplified. So that's wonderful. Thank you for that, Nicole. Daljit, anything from you?
Sure. So what I've been trying to do over the last couple of years, actually, since COVID hit, and I've been at home, so mainly just trying to peel layers of what does not serve, and just trying to go much deeper and trying to find my real self, like at the soul level. So just shedding, I would say, conditioning and whatever doesn't serve, basically. So I'm just trying to go a lot deeper. So I'm doing meditations based on that. I've taken classes with you in the past, and so at NAC. So I'm continuing those.
Wonderful. We hold you in our hearts, and all of us together holding each other in our hearts. Thank you for that. And Oksana, I don't know if you feel like talking, but if you do, now is a good time to weigh in.
Oh, yes, Judith, I'll say a couple of words, of course. So I think, like for many of you, it's probably the year of challenging our powers, and it feels like there is more and more pressure, and you have to really step in and stand for it, because personally myself, I know many situations in life where I betrayed myself, and I'm like, no, not anymore, not again. But the challenges are very hard, because the situation in the world in various fields, it's really pressing. And at the same time, I know that on the surface, for example, I used to see, oh, this is just work, this is just this. But then looking underneath, oh, it's not just work, and it's not even for money. And then as I start looking further, I realize, actually, I don't have to worry at all about what it is going to be about, because in the end, all I'm doing, I'm still seeking transformation. I'm still seeking to regain my power in full and live it and manifest it. And it kind of has this soothing feeling, it brings this, whatever you do can't go wrong, because you are still searching for kind of your wholeness, for this bigger self. And it can't really be wrong. And then as soon as the fears come in, because it's quite natural, again, there's something new coming, lots of pressures, and you think, oh, the best cure for fear is love. Just remind yourself, whenever you are in love, with love, live in love, there is nothing that can go wrong. And the rest is really, pointless to worry about. So I really have these big things in front of me, in front of my eyes, or in the center of my mind, to hold on to and remind myself, so I don't get lost or don't lose my path next year.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, are you ready to meditate then?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Then if you don't mind just muting your microphone if it's not already muted. And just find a comfortable position to sit down or lie down with your back straight. Close your eyes if you haven't already. This is a journey into your subconscious mind to release what does not serve you, in the belief and expectation that this liberation will lift you into the light of pure consciousness. So begin, please just turn your attention to your breath and its slow and steady movement through your nose deep into your body and back out again. Feel the inflow and outflow of your breath, how it enlivens your lungs, stimulates your heart, inspires you with life, calls you to harmony and oneness with the natural world. Take a nice, big, deep breath in and take it up to the top of your head. And as you release it, just allow that wave of relaxation to travel all the way down to the tips of your toes. Breathing in again. And feel that wave of relaxation traveling down your body and letting go of any tension in your muscles. Feel your breath and that relaxation, relaxing and releasing the muscles in your head and your face, your forehead, the muscles around your eyes, relaxing the muscles behind your eyes, your mouth, relaxing your jaw, relaxing the back of your tongue. And that breath of relaxation, relaxing your neck and shoulders, flowing down to your fingertips, and relaxing your chest and your back and stomach. Breathing deeply and easily with your whole torso relaxed, releasing. And breathing that relaxation down into your hips and pelvis. Relaxation flowing into your lower legs, feet, and toes. The same air you are breathing also billows as wind through the leaves of trees. See that with your mind's eye. See or sense or imagine wind in meadow grasses, spiraling up into the sky to shape and move clouds. In every way, air as wind breathes life into the earth and cleanses it, just as your breath cleanses and revitalizes you. Feel your oneness with your body, your mind and body indivisible. And feel your oneness with the earth, how your heart beats in tune with the drum-like heartbeat of Mother Earth. Feel the powers of healing and growth in nature, which connect you with all things, each one alive with the frequencies of vibration. Just notice how good this unity feels when your body is deeply relaxed, in harmony with your still and quiet mind. When your mind is open to your heart, and your heart is open to your spirit. Find a landmark, a word, image, concept, or body sensation that represents what it feels like to be relaxed, peaceful, whole, and united inside yourself. And now, when you are ready, drift down into a still deeper meditation and allow your body boundaries to disappear. Awareness of your body simply melts away. And you become aware of awareness itself and nothing else. And you imagine yourself entering a healing cave, a quiet, healing cave, glowing with light, warm and welcoming, safe and secure. A mystical place where you will find just what you want and need. Walk around in this healing space in your mind's eye. Use all of your senses to explore it. And do this on your own for a few moments, beginning now. When you are ready, look around and find the gift that is waiting here for you. The gift will be something you can use in your everyday life. Explore it until you understand its meaning and how to use it. You can take your gift with you or leave it behind until later. Now it is time to walk farther into the cave on a path leading to your healing. The walls of the cave light your way. The pathway rises and falls. And you walk along until you come to a shimmering pool of water. You see, feel, or sense healing energy emanating from the water. Here, you can release anything that you are ready to let go of. Anything that impedes your progress in life. You sit beside the water and gaze at your reflection. What do you notice about yourself? The way you look, the way you feel. In a few moments, without any effort, without any emotion, you are going to become aware of what has made you feel unworthy, like something less than who you really are. It could be a thought pattern, emotion, attitude, or behavior, a childhood memory, a broken or lost relationship, or anything else. You will become aware ever so briefly of what needs healing, what you want to release, what you need to release as it flows out of you and away. Your mind opens, and whatever you need to release bubbles up from your darkest depths into the light of pure consciousness. And when you're ready, you send it into the pool of water and the underground river flowing below it. It will flow through the underground river into the ocean of spirit and set you free. And you allow that to occur right now in the silence. You may see or sense a change in your reflection as this release and purification takes place. And gradually, you begin to feel lighter as each atom, each cell is liberated. And you feel good, very good. With each passing moment, what you are releasing is being replaced with light, super luminous light, flowing in through your energy centers. Feel that happening now. Light flowing in through the crown of your head, the third eye in your forehead, throat, your heart, the solar plexus above your navel, pelvis, the base of your spine, all filling with the spiritual light. And as you fill with light, you become as light, a being of radiant light, luminous, enlightened, and the roof of the cave lifts away, allowing you to rise ever so gently and slowly up into the starry night and beyond it into the cosmos. Pure consciousness, pure spirit, unbounded, free to explore, play, to have an adventure. And your adventure begins. You may meet beings of light and receive a message. Or you may explore other dimensions, other worlds, parallel realities. You may simply want to meditate and feel what it feels like to be pure consciousness. It's almost time to end your meditation. But before you do, project your awareness into your everyday life. Notice what you look like, feel like, sound like, how you behave, and what you do when in your everyday life you embody this higher aspect of yourself. And imagine it rippling into your entire year and everything you do. Find a few words that represent how you are and make them into an I am statement. And now, find a word, concept, symbol, or body sensation that represents the way you feel. This will give you a landmark to re-enter this state of consciousness at any time, or perhaps to live in it at all times. Take a few moments now to distribute these energies from your higher energy centers throughout your body. Usher the energy from the crown and the third eye and the throat, even the heart, into your organs, and extend the energies all the way to the tips of your fingers and the ends of your toes. Balanced and coherent. Whole and energized. And now very gently begin to return to this outside space. Feeling alert, refreshed, and relaxed. You may wish to wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a few deep, sharp breaths. Move your shoulders. And you might even wish to take a full body stretch to fully arouse. Hope that meditation did well for everyone, and would love to hear back from you if you're willing to share your experience of it.
That was fantastic.
You liked it, Shally?
Oh God, yeah, that was amazing. So
Awesome.
deep. Beautiful.
Can you say anything about your specific experience if you wish?
Just really taking a lot of time to harmonize with my future self, and the acceptance of that and the beauty of that. It felt really good. Like it felt like the more integration is how it felt.
Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that. Very happy. I kind of felt the same way in the quiet space. I did that too. It was really nice. Did you form an I am sentence that you can use as a little landmark mantra?
See if I can remember. This is what I have trouble always. The most amazing ones come to me, and then when I try and repeat them, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get it. Give me a moment.
Sure, and come back when you remember.
I'll try and
Yeah.
write it.
Conscious mind tends to go offline. I have trouble with that when I'm sending healing energy to people in a very, very deep meditation. And I try to name their name and I can't. I can see them, so I just have to do it symbolically and visually rather than by name. World mind's offline. Anybody else? Let's see.
Sure.
That would, somebody
Oh.
else is talking.
Go ahead. I can wait.
Okay. I guess it was you, Robert. Well, I thought that was very interesting, and it taught me a lot about how you have to structure meditations. And whenever I practice writing, I kind of forgot you really have to encourage people to find a key to hold on to, so when they come back, and you did that twice, which is really nice. And I was thinking, it's so much like a piece of classical music, because when I listen to classical music, like it's got to constantly have new elements to keep me interested, but they can't be nonsensical. It can't just go like, to a completely different thing without having some way to get there. So I was thinking that's kind of the essential thing, having that element of moving you to a different place in your consciousness while at the same time still connecting with where you were at. So the I am part came to me real early, before you asked the question. I am a problem solver. And then when you said how, and come up with an image that sort of summarizes how you feel or something like that at this moment in time. And an image came to me just in a snap. And I said, well, that can't be right. It came to me too fast. But the more I thought about it, it seemed right. So I was thinking the Statue of Liberty, and I'm holding up the torch and I'm offering people this way to freedom. I'm a problem solver. And that's the way to think about biofeedback in general. I think of it as a way. Freedom, of your soul, you might say, is a way to free up your mind. And I guess that's the way I think of myself. I feel about myself is that I have this rich inner life, and I would love to open it up, that kind of experience, to other people. So that was that's a short summary. I mean, I went into the meditation just with one very specific problem in mind, and I thought, well, this will be interesting to see what I can do with this in a different state of consciousness. And And I worked with it and I got some new ideas, but of course then I thought a lot of other things too during that time. So, and I was thinking, you know, there's that famous saying that's attributed to Einstein that you can't solve a problem in the same state of consciousness that you define the problem. And I realized, you know, actually that isn't quite true, because you do have to come back to that original state of consciousness and to articulate the solution. So what I think what it really means is you can't solve a problem unless you first dip down into another state of consciousness and then come back to the original problem, and then you can articulate the solution. So
Brilliant. Brilliant. I love how your Statue of Liberty landmark so beautifully merged with what you said you realized on New Year's Eve when you were
right.
with the group of entrepreneurs. Yeah, it really fit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's wonderful when you get imagery or even just a sense of knowing that you know you didn't make it up. It was spontaneous, because your thinking mind goes, that can't be right. And then you go, no, I feel the rightness of it.
Yeah, kind of like it can't, like tech images just come to you in a dream, right? You don't consciously think of them. It's just kind of similar to that. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. That's lovely.
Well, thank you for the meditation.
My great pleasure. Robert, you were going to say?
Excellent. Superbly done. If it were one of my students did something like that, that would be an A++. But you are a hypnotist, you know. You have the voice, you have the consciousness, and what you do is hypnosis, at least in this context, a direct suggestion.
Yeah.
Just expanding what I had said earlier, I was trying to limit it strictly to the past lives, but when I'm teaching my classes, I make it clear to the students that what we are doing here is not the same as enlightenment, but rather it's clearing those blockages, those noises, I think you put it at one time, from the inner consciousness. In the Hawaiian tradition, they would talk about the conscious self is Uhani, the subconscious is the Unihipili, and the Amakua is the higher consciousness, higher mind, what we might call a higher self. But in that tradition, they have a much deeper understanding of the nature of the subconscious, unconscious mind than we do have in the West. And so as we clear away the blockages through whatever means, whether it's rebirthing methods, breath work methods, or hypnosis, or through the mind mirror, as we get in touch with those things, then it opens a pathway, because the conscious mind, the Uhani, has to go through the subconscious mind in order to reach the Amakua, the higher self. And if there's all this static in between, then the messages don't go through clearly.
Yeah.
So and to reach enlightenment is not simply through suggestion, but rather by having to step all the way completely out of the conceptual mental framework that we've created about what is reality, about the world. It takes that level of stepping aside out of the whole world we think we experience that we've created in mind and consciousness.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Max Cade had a phrase that possibly is common to everyone else, maybe everybody else knows it, disidentification of with the self.
Yes,
Yeah.
says it well.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Beautiful. And thank you for the A+.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to mark that on my paper.
Well, it's true, you know.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Sylvia, can I prompt you? I wonder if you had any galactic visitations, because it had that kind of language when the roof opened. Oh, you're unmuted, sorry.
I was saying, yeah, that was really wonderful. I love that the roof opened up, and the pool was really wonderful. But I already had a pool. I had already found a pool in the cave, so I have this special entrance to the pool, and the pool is yeah. So I would say I found it really very, very deep, the pool, the meditation, the dive into the deeper consciousness, and coming up with more treasures. I can't really say that anything specific crystallized, but it built on something, a session I did last night with that was unifying me with can I put this? Well, we've already talked about galactic and cosmic things, so it would had to do with existences on with dolphins, dolphin beings, and then coming to Earth and losing the ability to get back for a time, but also remembering that. And so I thought of how playful the dolphins are. So my I am is I am playful. But also from last night's session and this one, it's I'm whole again. So it is part of that remembering and opening up other aspects of my consciousness. So it was very expansive.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're so high, Sylvia. If anything, if I can be any part of anything that expands you, I'm going to add a plus to my A++. Thank you for that. Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else? Feedback?
I can say something too.
Yes,
So
please.
first, I would like to share how I feel at the end of the meditation. So I feel restored and well balanced on all levels of being. So physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and I feel also fully present. So my mantra was something, I'm healthy and fully present, or something like that, on all levels. And I found the meditation to be very well structured, something like a gift for consciousness explorers, because you have been able to build a lot of wonderful boxes and then leave them empty enough for each one to fill with his own imagination, with his own scenarios. So very well structured. I have a background in Ericksonian hypnosis, but this is very well targeted for the expansion of consciousness, healing, contact with other dimensions, and so on. So it was very, very, very rich. I probably not been able to follow all the passages, becoming lost inside, outside, and looking around several times. I remember I've been surprised by the stream of water that was passing behind the pool. This was an opening to me, because probably I need the sense of flow, not to be static in the pool. And it was the key to unlock many doors and many experiences.
Beautiful.
So thank you very much, Judith.
Thank you. That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear.
So you can add another plus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, pools could be static, can't they? But if they got an underground river, well, that's different. Refreshes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Oh, well, I can just add that the pool for me was, it was a connected to the heart of the earth, and then connected to the great central sun of the, so that was why, and it was a well, it was a heart well. And so it was flowing, but it was flowing up. But I really appreciate Luca's bringing up the idea of flow, because certainly as you would want to bring that the consciousness of dolphins and how they flow in their lives. In fact, I don't think they probably don't have a dolphin word for not flow.
Right, right.
Or maybe they have, 27 different words for flow in their language, because it's just so much a part of who of their environment and who they are.
Yes, the freedom.
Yeah, but but flowing in the sense of flowing into, the water and the quality of the divine quality of the water, the pure consciousness, the purity of it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I want that as an awareness that I want to.
Yes. I love it. Thank you. How about you, Garth? You're sitting there like a Buddha.
I ended up back in the past experience, past life experience of recall of something that I had before, but expanded on through the imagery you were doing.
Cool.
So you get an A+ with me also.
Packing off the
Oh,
red stars
beautiful.
today.
Just happy as can be. Happy as can be. How about you, Oksana? You still with us?
Yes, Judith, I'm here. I loved it. It was taking me too high and taking me into my stomach at the same time. With all the painkillers residue from yesterday, sorry to say that, very down to earth experience. So, but otherwise, I could feel the support of the group during this meditation, and I found lots of beautiful crystals in the cave, which was great. And the water, as soon as you mentioned the pool, it felt like, yeah, it has purifying properties to it, this water. I immediately wanted to dive in and wash myself off. And then the effect from before and after, I felt quite kind of tired and sad when you first asked us to look in the reflection in the pool, and then on the kind of checking after, I felt so much kind of more playful and younger and happier. So there was lots of lightness back, which was great. I don't know, yeah, it's a wonderful meditation. I really enjoyed it, like everybody else. Thank you.
I'm so glad. Hope it helped you feel better. What was your I am statement? Would it be I am playful? Or something else?
No. It's kind of still about the same thing I mentioned before. So these words are so misused or so often used. So it was I am light, I am love. So it's kind of both very powerful, despite of the fact how many times we use them.
I think you've said it for all of us. I am life, I am love. Fantastic. And may this be a wonderful mantra for all of us for this coming year. Of course, every year has its challenges, especially the past two for the whole planet. But we already know that there is not only an undercurrent, but an overflowing current of good. And I suppose we just trust in that and take care of ourselves and be as loving and as sufficient unto ourselves as we can. And know that therefore we contribute the best that we can. And that field will radiate out, yeah, into our own lives and every life we touch as well. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being so open and sharing too. You made this program work. Really appreciate each and every one of you. It's delightful to see you here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in 2022, perhaps even without a mask. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see how that pans out. And Luca, thank you about that film. I know we would love to see Arne do his presentation. So
Sure, I will let you know as soon as I have access to the material we share.
wonderful. Arne is going to do a case history folio on some of his clients from his independent study and his practitioner training. We hope in March. And so maybe we can show it then, and that would be really a thrill.
Absolutely, very welcome.
Happy 2022, everybody. May
Yes.
it be a joy for each and every one of you. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.